In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, a terrible war raged between two mighty alien races. The Zorlacs, with their advanced technology and strategic minds, faced off against the Vexonians, known for their overwhelming numbers and fierce determination. This conflict had been going on for centuries, and it seemed like it would never end. General Kraz-Ful of the Zorlac Empire stood on the bridge of his massive warship, the Starbreaker. His 4 eyes, each a different shade of purple, scanned the holographic displays showing the latest battle reports. The news wasn't good. "Another defeat," he muttered, his voice a low growl that made his subordinates flinch. "How many ships did we lose this time?" A nervous officer approached, holding a datapad. "Sir, we lost 47 battlecruisers and over 200 fighter craft. The Vexonians' new energy weapon proved more effective than our intelligence suggested." Kraz-Ful's upper right eye twitched, a sign of his growing frustration. He had been fighting this war for most of his 300-year life, and for the first time, he was starting to believe they might lose. "What about our secret weapon?" he asked, turning to face his chief scientist, Dr. Zix. The scientist, a small green-skinned Zorlac with 6 arms, shook his head sadly. "I'm sorry, General. The quantum disruptor is still unstable. Every test has resulted in the destruction of our own ships." Kraz-Ful slammed his fist on the control panel, causing sparks to fly. "We need something, anything, to turn the tide of this war." Just then, an alarm blared through the ship. Red lights flashed, and crew members rushed to their battle stations. A young officer called out, "Sir, we have multiple Vexonian warships dropping out of hyperspace. They found our secret base in the Andromeda Galaxy." The general's hearts raced. This base was their last hope, a hidden outpost where they were developing new technologies to win the war. If the Vexonians destroyed it, all would be lost. "All ships, prepare for battle." Kraz-Ful roared. "We must protect the base at all costs." The space around them lit up with the flashes of energy weapons and explosions. Zorlac ships, sleek and angular, danced between the bulky, organic-looking Vexonian vessels. Fighter craft zipped back and forth, their pilots locked in deadly duels. From his command chair, Kraz-Ful directed the battle with all the skill he had gained over centuries of warfare. But even he could see that they were outnumbered and outgunned. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, fear evident in his voice, "we've lost our outer defensive line. The Vexonians are pushing towards the planet." Kraz-Ful felt a cold dread settle in his stomach. He knew what he had to do, but the cost would be enormous. "Prepare the Nova Bomb," he ordered quietly. A hush fell over the bridge. The Nova Bomb was a weapon of last resort, capable of destroying an entire star system. Using it would mean sacrificing their base, along with all the Zorlac soldiers and scientists stationed there. As the battle raged on, Kraz-Ful watched the Vexonian ships draw closer to their prize. With a heavy heart, he gave the command, "Detonate the Nova Bomb." A blinding flash of light filled the view screens. When it faded, where once there had been a thriving star system, now there was nothing but debris and empty space. The Vexonian fleet was gone, but so too was the Zorlac's last hope for victory. In the aftermath of the battle, Kraz-Ful retreated to his private quarters. He felt older than his 300 years, weighed down by the losses they had suffered. As he sat there, wondering how much longer his people could hold out, a message came through on his private channel. It was from Xinra, his most trusted advisor and secret keeper. The message was short, but filled Kraz-Ful with a mix of hope and dread. "General, we've discovered a new species. They call themselves humans. They've just achieved space travel. Initial data suggests they could change everything. We need to talk." Kraz-Ful stared at the message for a long time. A new species entering the galactic stage could tip the balance of power. But would these humans be their salvation or their doom? Only time would tell. And Kraz-Ful knew that time was something the Zorlacs were quickly running out of. General Kraz-Ful couldn't sleep. The message from Sinra kept playing in his mind. Humans, a new species. Could they really change everything? As soon as the ship's clock marked the start of the new day, Krasful rushed to the secret meeting room. Sinra was already there, her silver skin glowing softly in the dim light. "Tell me everything," Krasful demanded. Sinra nodded and activated a holographic display. "We discovered them by accident. One of our long-range probes picked up radio signals from a small blue planet in a backwater part of the galaxy. The hologram showed a beautiful world with swirling white clouds and vast blue oceans. Earth. At first, we thought it was just random noise," Shinra continued. "But then we decoded the signals. General, these humans have only had radio technology for about 100 years, and they're already sending ships beyond their own planet." Krasful's four eyes widened in surprise. "That's incredibly fast progress." "It gets better," Sinra said, her voice filled with excitement. "Look at this." The hologram changed, showing images of human history. Krasful watched in amazement as the scenes flashed by. Humans in primitive clothing hunting with spears, then building great pyramids, sailing across oceans in wooden ships, flying in metal machines, and finally landing on their own moon. All of this, Jinra explained, happened in less than 10,000 years. "General, do you understand what this means? These humans adapt and evolve at a rate we've never seen before." Krasful felt a mix of hope and fear. Have they discovered faster than light travel yet? "No," Tinra replied. "But at the rate they're going, it's only a matter of time." The general paced the room, his mind racing. What about their weapons? Their military capabilities? Zinra's expression turned grim. "That's where it gets concerning." She changed the hologram again, showing scenes of human warfare. "They're incredibly creative when it comes to fighting, and disturbingly good at it." Krasful watched as the hologram displayed humans fighting with everything from swords to nuclear weapons. "By the stars," he muttered. "They're savages." "Yes," Jinra agreed, "but savages with potential. Look at this." The hologram changed once more, showing humans helping each other after natural disasters, making scientific discoveries, creating beautiful art and music. "They're capable of great destruction," Sinra said softly, "but also great kindness and creativity. In many ways, they're like children, unpredictable, but full of potential." Krasful stood silently for a long moment, considering everything he had seen. Finally, he turned to Sinra. "What do you think we should do?" Sinra hesitated. "Normally, I'd say we should make contact, try to guide them, maybe even ask for their help in the war. But what? But I'm afraid of what might happen if we do," Sinra admitted. "If the Vexonians find out about them, they might try to use the humans against us. And if humans are as adaptable and warlike as they seem," Krasful nodded grimly, "they could become an even bigger threat than the Vexonians." "Exactly," Sinra said. "So what do we do?" The general turned back to the hologram, watching the images of human history replay. He saw their wars, their triumphs, their disasters, and their resilience. In many ways, they reminded him of his own people, but with a wild, unpredictable edge that both fascinated and terrified him. Finally, Krasful made his decision. "We need to know more. Send our best spies to Earth. I want to know everything about these humans, their strengths, their weaknesses, their hopes, and their fears." "And then?" Sinra asked. Krasful's expression was deadly serious. "And then I'll go to Earth myself. If these humans are as dangerous as they seem, we need to keep them out of this war at all costs, even if I have to beg their leaders myself." As Sinra left to carry out his orders, Krasful turned back to the hologram of Earth. He watched the blue planet spin slowly, home to a species that could be the galaxy's salvation or its doom. "Humans," he murmured to himself. "What kind of creatures are you? And what will you do when you learn you're not alone in the universe?" Only time would tell. and Krasful hoped they would have enough of it before the war reached Earth's doorstep. Weeks passed as Krasful waited for reports from his spies on Earth. Each day, the war with the Vexonians grew worse. The Zorlacs were losing ground, and hope was fading fast. Finally, the day came when Krasful decided he could wait no longer. He had to go to Earth himself. "This is madness, General," Sinra protested as Krasful prepared for his secret mission. "You're too important to risk on this wild gamble." Krasful looked at his advisor, his 4 eyes filled with determination. "If we don't do something drastic, we'll lose this war. The humans might be our last hope." Using advanced cloaking technology, Krasful's small ship slipped past Earth's primitive detection systems. As they descended through the atmosphere, he marveled at the beauty of the blue planet. "Where should we land, sir?" the pilot asked. Krasful consulted the data from his spies. "Their leaders are gathering for something called a United Nations meeting in a place called New York. We'll land nearby." Under the cover of night, the alien ship touched down in Central Park. Krasful, disguised in a holographic human form, stepped out onto Earth for the first time. The sights, sounds, and smells of the city overwhelmed him. Hovercars zoomed overhead, while humans of all shapes and sizes hurried along the streets. The energy of the place was intoxicating. But Krasful had no time to enjoy the experience. He had a mission to complete. Using the information gathered by his spies, Krasful made his way to the United Nations building. Security was tight, but with his advanced technology, he slipped inside undetected. As he entered the main assembly hall, Krasful felt a moment of doubt. Was he really about to reveal the existence of alien life to these humans? But he pushed the thought aside. He had no choice. In the middle of a speech about global cooperation, Krasful dropped his holographic disguise. Gasps of shock and fear rippled through the room as the alien general appeared before them. "People of Earth," Krasful began, his voice translated into multiple languages by his advanced technology. "I come to you with an urgent plea." Security guards rushed forward, but Krasful raised his hands in a gesture of peace. "Please, I mean you no harm. I am General Krasful of the Zorlac Empire, and I need your help." For the next hour, Krasful explained the situation to the stunned world leaders. He told them about the war with the Vexonians, the advanced technologies of both races, and the terrible destruction that had been wrought across the galaxy. "But why come to us?" one leader asked. "We're centuries behind your technology." Krasful's expression turned grim. "Because you humans are unlike any species we've encountered. Your adaptability, your creativity, your capacity for warfare, it's unparalleled." Murmurs spread through the crowd at this. "I've come here today not to ask for your help in our war," Krasful continued, "but to beg you to stay out of it." Confusion rippled through the assembly. "You don't understand," Krasful said, his voice filled with urgency. "If you enter this conflict, you will change everything. Your species, you're not ready for this. The technologies you would be exposed to, the horrors of interstellar war, it could destroy you. Or worse, it could turn you into something terrifying." The room fell silent as the implications of his words sank in. "So what would you have us do?" another leader asked. "Pretend we never learned about alien life." Krasful shook his head. "No, I'm offering you a choice. Stay out of this war. Focus on developing your own world and technologies at your own pace. In return, both the Zorlacs and the Vexonians will vow to leave Earth alone, no matter the outcome of our conflict." As the human leaders debated among themselves, Krasful waited anxiously. He knew he was asking for something nearly impossible. Humans, from what he had learned, were curious by nature. Asking them to ignore the wider galaxy was like asking water not to be wet. But he had to try. Because if humans entered the war, Krasful feared they might prove to be more dangerous than either the Zorlacs or the Vexonians could handle. As the debate raged on, Krasful could only hope that wisdom would prevail over curiosity and ambition. The fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy hung in the balance. The debate in the United Nations lasted for days. Krasvol's revelation had thrown the world into chaos. People everywhere were talking about aliens, war, and the future of humanity. In the end, the world leaders made their decision. They politely thanked Krasvol for his warning, but declined his offer to stay out of the galactic conflict. "We appreciate your concern," the Secretary General told him, "but humanity has never been good at ignoring the unknown. We cannot pretend that we don't know about the wider universe now that we do." Krasvol's heart sank. This was exactly what he had feared. "You don't understand the dangers," he pleaded one last time. But his words fell on deaf ears. The human leaders were already making plans. They wanted to learn more about alien technology, to prepare Earth for possible threats, and yes, to explore the stars. As Krasvol prepared to leave Earth, he saw the excitement in people's eyes. Humans everywhere were looking up at the stars with new wonder and ambition. He knew he had failed in his mission, and he feared for what would come next. Back on his ship, Krasvol sent a message to Xinra. "The humans have chosen to engage. Prepare for the unexpected." Meanwhile, on Earth, things were changing fast. Governments around the world poured money into space programs and advanced research. Scientists who had been studying the alien ship that brought Krasvol made breakthrough after breakthrough. Dr. Emily Chen, a brilliant physicist, was one of the lead researchers. She spent day and night studying the alien technology. "The way they manipulate energy," she explained to her team, "it's like nothing we've ever seen. If we can understand this, we could solve our energy crisis overnight." In another lab, Dr. James Okonkwo focused on the ship's propulsion system. "Faster than light travel," he mused, looking at his calculations. "It's not just possible, it's practical. We could be building our own starships within a decade." Governments weren't the only ones interested. Private companies jumped into the space race with both feet. Billionaire tech mogul Alec Frost announced his company's ambitious plan. "Within 5 years, we'll have a human colony on Mars. Within 10, we'll be reaching for the stars." The public was captivated. Schools started teaching about alien cultures and advanced physics. Kids played with toys of Zorlac and Vexonian spaceships. Everyone wanted to be part of humanity's next great adventure. But not everyone was caught up in the excitement. Some people worried about the dangers Krasvol had mentioned. Protests sprang up around the world, with signs reading "Earth First" and "Don't Meddle in Alien Wars." Despite these concerns, progress marched on. And then, something unexpected happened. Late one night, alarms blared at a top-secret research facility. Dr. Chen rushed to her lab to find a group of young hackers had somehow broken in. They were trying to steal blueprints for experimental technology based on the alien designs. "Stop," Dr. Chen shouted. "You don't know what you're dealing with." But the hackers didn't listen. In their rush to escape, they activated an unstable prototype. There was a blinding flash of light, and when it faded, the hackers were gone, vanished into thin air. Dr. Chen stared at the empty space where they had been, her mind racing. "Oh no," she whispered. "What have we done?" As news of the incident spread, the world held its breath. Where had the hackers gone? Were they lost in space? Transported to another planet? And what would happen when they arrived, wherever they were? Krasvol, monitoring Earth's communications from his ship, received the news with a heavy heart. "And so it begins," he said to himself. "Humans are now loose in the galaxy, ready or not." He knew that the balance of power in the war with the Vexonians might soon shift in ways no one could predict. Humanity's curiosity had been ignited, and there would be no putting out that flame. The galaxy would never be the same again. The 5 young hackers who vanished from Earth found themselves in a terrifying new reality. One moment, they were in Dr. Chen's lab, and the next, they were floating in the middle of a massive space battle. "Where are we?" gasped Sarah, the youngest of the group, her eyes wide with fear and wonder. Before anyone could answer, a massive explosion rocked their world. They were surrounded by ships of all shapes and sizes, firing strange weapons at each other. "Those must be the Zorlacs and Vexonians," shouted Mike, the group's self-proclaimed alien expert. "We're in the middle of their war." As if to confirm his words, a nearby ship, sleek and angular, clearly Zorlac design, took a direct hit. It started to spin out of control, heading straight for the group of terrified humans. "We're going to die," screamed Yavi, the oldest of the hackers. But Ling, their tech genius, had other ideas. "Quick," she yelled, pointing at the ship. "If we can get inside, we might survive." Using the low-gravity propulsion units they had stolen from the lab, the 5 hackers managed to reach the damaged Zorlac ship just as another blast rocked it. They tumbled inside through a breach in the hull, gasping for breath in the alien atmosphere. Inside, they found chaos. Alien crew members lay injured or unconscious, and warning lights flashed everywhere. "We need to do something," said Alex, the group's natural leader, "or we'll all go down with this ship." Despite their fear and confusion, the young humans sprang into action. Years of playing video games and hacking complex systems had prepared them, in an odd way, for this moment. Ling rushed to what looked like a control panel. "I think I can figure this out," she muttered, her fingers flying over the alien symbols. Mike and Sarah helped injured Zorlacs, using their limited first-aid knowledge as best they could on alien anatomy. Javi and Alex made their way to what seemed to be the engine room. "It's not so different from the stuff we saw in Dr. Chen's lab," Javi noted, surprised. Working together, the humans managed to stabilize the ship. Ling figured out the basics of the navigation system, while Javi and Alex got the engines back online. Mike and Sarah used the ship's medical technology to help the injured crew. As the Zorlac crew began to regain consciousness, they were shocked to find their ship not only intact but better than before. The human hackers had made improvements as they worked, their fresh perspectives leading to innovative solutions. The ship's captain, a grizzled Zorlac veteran, approached the humans. "Who are you?" he asked in his own language, which was automatically translated by the ship's systems. "What are you doing here?" Alex stepped forward. "We're humans," he said, trying to sound braver than he felt. "We're here by accident, but we want to help." The captain's 4 eyes widened in surprise. "Humans? General Kraz Full warned us about you, but you saved us. You saved my crew." Before the conversation could go further, another alarm blared. A massive Vexonian battleship was approaching, its weapons primed to fire. "We'll never survive that," the captain said grimly. But Ling had an idea. "What if we combine your weapons with the propulsion technology we brought from Earth?" she suggested. "We might be able to create a surprise they're not prepared for." The captain hesitated for only a moment before nodding. "Do it." What happened next would go down in galactic history. The human-modified Zorlac ship unleashed a weapon never seen before. It tore through the Vexonian defenses like they were paper, disabling the massive battleship in one shot. As cheers erupted on the Zorlac ship, the captain turned to the humans with newfound respect. "Perhaps General Kraz Hull was right about you humans," he said, but not in the way he expected. News of the battle spread quickly through both fleets. A single damaged Zorlac ship had taken out a Vexonian battleship, thanks to the help of a mysterious new species. On his flagship, General Kraz Full received the report with a mix of awe and dread. "So it begins," he muttered. "The humans have entered the war, and they're already changing everything." As the 5 young hackers looked out at the star-filled space around them, they realized their lives would never be the same. They had started a chain of events that would reshape the galaxy. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, ready or not. News of the human hackers' incredible feats spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Both Zorlacs and Vexonians were stunned by the unexpected turn of events. A damaged Zorlac ship, aided by 5 young humans, had managed to disable a Vexonian battleship with ease. It was unheard of. General Kraz Full paced nervously on the bridge of his flagship. "This is exactly what I feared," he muttered to Xinra. "The humans have changed everything." Xinra nodded gravely. "Yes, but not in the way we expected. They're helping us." Meanwhile, the Vexonian High Command was in an uproar. Admiral Zixlar, the leader of the Vexonian forces, slammed his tentacle on the war table. "We must have this human technology," he roared. "Find me more of these humans." Back on Earth, governments and scientists were working around the clock to understand what had happened. Dr. Chen and her team pored over the data from the prototype that had sent the hackers across the galaxy. "We need to bring them back," Dr. Chen insisted to her superiors. "But more importantly, we need to understand how they did what they did out there." As Earth debated its next move, the 5 young hackers found themselves at the center of a galactic storm. The Zorlac ship they had saved brought them to a secret base, where they were hailed as heroes. "We need your help," the Zorlac captain told them. "Your fresh perspective, your human way of thinking. It could be the key to ending this war." The hackers looked at each other, a mix of excitement and fear in their eyes. "We're just kids," Sarah said softly. "We don't know anything about fighting wars." "Maybe that's exactly why we can help," Alex replied, a determined look on his face. Over the next few weeks, the humans worked closely with Zorlac scientists and engineers. They shared ideas, combined technologies, and came up with innovations that neither species could have developed alone. Lynn developed a new encryption system that the Vexonians couldn't crack. Mike and Sarah designed improvements to Zorlac medical technology, drastically reducing casualties. Javi and Alex worked on weapon systems, making them more efficient and less destructive. As word of their achievements spread, more humans began to arrive in Zorlac space. Some were sent officially by Earth governments, others came on their own, driven by curiosity and the desire to explore. The Vexonians, realizing they were falling behind, began their own efforts to recruit humans. They sent secret agents to Earth, offering advanced technology in exchange for human assistance. Some humans, lured by the Vexonians' promises, agreed to help. They brought with them new ideas and Earth technologies that the Vexonians eagerly incorporated into their war effort. The conflict escalated, with both sides now bolstered by human ingenuity. Battles became more intense, strategies more complex. The war that had been raging for centuries took on a new, unpredictable character. But amid the chaos, something unexpected began to happen. As humans worked alongside both Zorlacs and Vexonians, they started to question the war itself. "Why are you fighting in the first place?" asked Sarah during a strategy meeting with Zorlac commanders. The aliens looked at each other, puzzled. They had been at war for so long, many had forgotten the original reason. On the Vexonian side, a human scientist named Dr. Rodriguez posed a similar question to Admiral Zixlar. "Have you ever tried to negotiate peace?" These simple questions, born from human curiosity and a fresh perspective, began to plant seeds of doubt in both sides. Meanwhile, back on Earth, humans were making rapid advancements in space technology. Using what they had learned from both Zorlacs and Vexonians, they built their first true interstellar ships. As the first human-built starship, the HSS Hope, prepared for its maiden voyage, Dr. Chen stood before a crowd of reporters. "This ship represents more than just technological achievement," she said. "It represents humanity's first true step into the galactic community. And we go not to join a war, but to seek peace." The Hope set off, carrying a diverse crew of diplomats, scientists, and peacekeepers. Their mission: to bring the long-standing conflict between the Zorlacs and Vexonians to an end. As the ship disappeared into the vastness of space, General Kraz Full watched from his flagship, a mixture of anxiety and hope in his hearts. "The humans have indeed changed everything," he said to Xinra. "But perhaps it's for the best." The tables had turned. Humanity, once seen as a potential threat, now held the promise of peace in their hands. The galaxy waited with bated breath to see what they would do next. The HS Hope drifted through the star-studded void, its mission of peace about to face its greatest test. Captain Maria Chen, daughter of the renowned Dr. Emily Chen, stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the viewscreen. Ahead of them, the massive fleets of the Zorlacs and Vexonians faced each other, weapons primed. "This is it," Maria said to her crew. "Everything we've worked for comes down to this moment." The Hope had spent months traveling between Zorlac and Vexonian territories, meeting with leaders, learning about their cultures, and slowly building trust. Now they had managed to arrange a historic summit between the two warring races. As the Hope approached, both fleets parted to allow it passage. On board, tension was high. The ship carried not only human diplomats, but also representatives from both alien races who had come to see humanity's perspective as valuable. In the conference room, General Kraz-Ful of the Zorlacs and Admiral Zixlar of the Vexonians sat across from each other, centuries of hatred reflected in their eyes. Between them stood Maria, ready to mediate. "Gentlemen," she began, "today we have a chance to end this war and forge a new future for all our peoples." What followed was hours of intense negotiation. Old grievances were aired, accusations flew, and more than once it seemed like talks would break down. But the humans, with their unique ability to see things from different angles, kept the peace. Sarah, now a skilled diplomat, reminded both sides of the toll the war had taken. "How many generations have known nothing but conflict?" she asked softly. Mike, who had become an expert in both Zorlac and Vexonian biology, presented research showing how the war was affecting the health of both species. "Your children are being born weaker," he explained. "This war is literally killing your futures." As the talks progressed, something remarkable began to happen. The aliens started to see each other not as enemies, but as fellow sentient beings. They found common ground in their love for their families, their pride in their achievements, and their hopes for the future. Ling, now the head of a multi-species tech company, proposed a joint scientific initiative. "Imagine what we could achieve if we worked together instead of fighting," she said, her eyes shining with excitement. Alex, who had become a master strategist, suggested converting military installations into trade hubs. "Your war machines can become the foundations of a galactic economy," he explained. As the hours turned into days, progress was made. Slowly but surely, a peace treaty began to take shape. It wasn't easy, and there were many heated arguments, but the human ability to think outside the box and find compromise kept things moving forward. Finally, after a week of negotiations, General Kraz-Ful and Admiral Zixlar stood side by side, ready to sign the treaty. As they pressed their appendages to the document, cheers erupted throughout the Hope and across communication channels to both fleets. The war that had raged for centuries was over. In the years that followed, the galaxy entered a new era of peace and prosperity. The Zorlacs, Vexonians, and humans formed the core of a new galactic council, with other races soon joining as they were discovered. Trade flourished as former enemies became economic partners. Scientific advancements accelerated as brilliant minds from different species collaborated. The military ships that once brought destruction were repurposed for exploration, pushing the boundaries of known space. Humans, with their adaptability and fresh perspectives, often found themselves in the role of mediators and innovators. Their homeworld, Earth, became a hub of interstellar culture and commerce. One day, years after the peace treaty, Kraz-Ful visited Earth. As he stood in the bustling spaceport of New Beijing, watching humans and aliens of all kinds living and working together in harmony, he couldn't help but smile. "I was wrong about you humans," he said to Maria, who had come to greet him. "I thought you would bring destruction to the galaxy. Instead, you brought peace." Maria laughed. "We just asked the questions no one else thought to ask," she said. "And we were too stubborn to accept that war was the only answer." As they walked together towards the Galactic Council chambers, Kraz-Ful reflected on the incredible journey that had led to this moment. The humans, once seen as a potential threat, had become the linchpin of a new galactic civilization. The universe, vast and full of wonders, stretched out before them, and thanks to human ingenuity and determination, it was no longer a battlefield, but a frontier of endless possibilities.